Dear viewers, as we all know that Nizams were ruled Hyderabad state finally, and after that Hyderabad was merged in Indian Union. So let's see the what are the consequences led for the merge this Hyderabad kingdom into Indian Union. So I wanted to start from Salarjung 1. Salarjung 1. You all know that Salarjung Museum is very famous. Salarjung 1. Salarjung 1 is a title. Salarjung 1, the actual name, the original name was Mir Turab Ali Khan. Mir Turab Ali Khan. Mir Turab Ali Khan, the original name of Salarjung 1. He was a wonderful administrator. He changed the reform. He changed a lot the Hyderabad and administrative reforms. He implemented many of systematic reforms in Hyderabad, and due to his systematic reforms and ways, and Hyderabad got lot of development in Hyderabad kingdom. Salarjung 1 or Mir Turab Ali Khan. Mir Turab Ali Khan was worked as a prime minister under Nasiruddaulah, Afzaluddaulah and Mir Mehboob Ali Khan. Mir Mehboob Ali Khan is also very important. It is N for Nasiruddaulah. Nasiruddaulah and next is Afzal. Nasiruddaulah, Afzaluddaulah, Mir Mehboob Ali Khan. He worked as a prime minister. So he was died in 1883. He was died in 1883. After that, his son, Salarjung one son, his name is Layak Ali Khan. Layak Ali Khan, who also known as Salarjung II. Salarjung II. Right? So Layak Ali Khan, Salarjung II was the classmate of Mir Mehboob Ali Khan. So these both are classmate, and they may ask also write the sequence of the prime ministers or the kings. Right? Salarjung 1, Salarjung 2. Salarjung 1 also known as Mir Turab Ali Khan, and Salarjung 2 also known as Mir Layak Ali Khan. Mir Layak Ali Khan, the son of Salarjung 1 or Mir Turab Ali Khan. So let's begin. Why I am explaining this? Because from this period onwards there was an issue was arisen. That issue was Mulki issue. What? Mulki. What is the mean of Mulki? Mulki means local. Simple. Mulki means what? Local. Mulki means local. Then Gair Mulki. Non-local means what? Gair Mulki. Gair Mulki means non-local. Okay? Mulki and non-Mulki. So this Mulki non-Mulki issue broke out during this period, and this was led dissatisfaction among the locals of Hyderabad, and this led for the another movement, that is Telangana movement or Mulki movement. So let's start that also. Let's discuss that also. Right. When this Mulkis and non-Mulkis issue was raised, so we have to go back to the history, like during the Khilji's time. Khilji. You might have heard the word Alauddin Khilji. During Alauddin Khilji and Tughlaqs. During the time of Khiljis and Tughlaqs, when they invaded the south, as you know that they invaded the South India. They invaded the South India. The South India was invaded by the Khiljis, Alauddin Khiljis and Muhammad bin Tughlaq, Malik Kafur. When they invaded, and during at the time, many people they came from North India and they settled here. So many people came from North India, they settled in the kingdom. So those were settled in the kingdoms. So during time of there, these were called as Deccanis. Deccanis. Who are Deccanis? Deccanis were during the time of Khiljis and Tughlaqs, who were settled in the Hyderabad state. So these were called as Deccanis. So Deccanis became locals later. They became locals later. Then the second one, Bahmanis. During the Bahmanis, to serve the Bahmanis, to administration, in the administration of the Bahmanis, many people came from the West Asia. During the time of Bahmanis, many people came from West Asia and they settled in the south. They settled in the south like Gulbarga in Karnataka. So these people were called as Afakis. Afakis. Right? So Deccan is also Muslims and Afakis also Muslims. So there are two sects are there. There are two Muslim sects are there in the world. One is Shias and Sunnis. Shias and Sunnis. So these are Sunnis. These Afakis, those who came from the West Asia, these were the Sunnis. And these are Shia sect or Shia sect. Malaysia, Indonesia, Shia we call them Shia. So that sect, these are the Deccanis and Afar. So there are a lot of differences were there among the Shia and Sunni sects. A lot of differences, culture, language, behavior and tradition, everything, food habits, everything. There are a lot of differences were there. So during this time onwards, this issue was started. Okay. And Salarjung Museum, Salarjung Museum was, you see the Salarjung Museum, there is a Deccanis and Sunnis and their material, their culture, their clothing style, their clothing pattern also will be preserved in the Salarjung Museum, right? If you visit, you can understand that also. They have written also that about that information, right? Next, when Salarjung I became Prime Minister, when he became Prime Minister, he gave importance to only the locals. He gave importance to the locals. But sometimes the non-locals also appointed in the administrative jobs. Non-locals also appointed in the administrative jobs. But Salarjung once stated that non-locals will not become the locals of the Hyderabad. They can remove any time. Anytime. So the Gair Mulkis can be removed anytime. Their jobs, their employment will be not secure. Right. So during the time of Salarjung I, many people came from North India, Bengal. Many people came from Bengal and many people came from Bombay. Because these people, they are very good in education, and in our Hyderabad state there is a lag in administration and lag in language and lag in literacy rate. So due to that, many people they migrated to South India from North India, Bengal, Bombay, okay, from Aligarh University. You might have known that Aligarh University. Okay, Aligarh University. Many of the Muslims were there, Aligarh University. And next, Salarjung I was appointed. Salarjung was appointed when the persons who knew the language of Persia. So during the time of Salarjung, Persia was the official language of the Hyderabad. Persia language, very very important this is. Persian language. Persia was the official language till 1883. Till 1883, Persia was the official language of the Hyderabad. Okay, later it was changed. So he was appointed, those people were new English, because why he was also appointing the person those who are new English? Because Nizam was under the British. Nizam ruling the Hyderabad state, he was under the supremacy of the British, because Nizam was made an alliance to the British with the British, that is subsidiary alliance. So Britishers need few people, those who knew English. So Salarjung was appointed the person those who knew English and those who knew Persia. And at the time, few people came from the Madras. At the time, Madras was under the control of British. So obviously they introduced English education. Britishers introduced English education. Then the many people they knew that English. Then they migrated. Okay. Many of the people they came from the Aligarh University. Many people came from the North India, Bengal, okay, and Uttar Pradesh, same. Okay. So due to migration of the non-Mulkis in the Hyderabad, So the culture have been changed. Hyderabad culture was different and North India culture was different. So there was dominance of the non-Mulkis. Non-Mulkis were dominating the administration. Non-Mulkis are changing the culture. Non-Mulkis were, they are close to the British, and due to that, a Western culture was started in the Hyderabad. And the important Deccani culture was vanishing, slowly, the vanishing. And these people were attending the functions of the British, and these people were changing the pattern, the style, the culture of Hyderabad. That really is very sad. So we can say that the non-Mulkis were influenced the Deccans. Non-Mulkis were, they are changing the culture of the Hyderabad. So there are a lot of influence was there. So it is a very bad sign. It was very bad sign to the Hyderabad culture. Salarjung one was felt that it is really bad. If it continues, if the non-Mulkis, Gair Mulkis dominance if continue, the original culture of Hyderabad may damage, may vanish, may wiped out, may it will be very danger. Next, so he was not giving importance to the non-Mulkis. Salarjung one didn't give importance to the non-Mulkis, just for the administration purpose he used. He was not invited for them in the functions of Hyderabad king. But non-Mulkis were attended the functions of English. Next, whenever these people they came from North India, they are requested to Salarjung to change Persia to Urdu as official language. So those non-Mulkis they came from the North India. Okay, so they were pressurized the Salarjung one to change the official language of the Hyderabad state from Persia to Urdu. But Salarjung was not accepted. Salarjung one was not accepted to change the language from Persia to Urdu, because Aligarh University many of the people were Urdu. If they change the Urdu language, many people they come from the Aligarh and they may employed in the Hyderabad state. So that may be another danger. That may be very terrific. So he did not accept. He claimed many times, you the Lucknowi Hindustanis do not know the culture of Hyderabad. Many times he was claimed. You people, you do not know the original language of the Islam, the Persia, and you are pressurizing me to change the official language from Persia to Urdu. He many times he was claimed and criticized the non-Mulkis. But everything was gone after the death of Salarjung I. When the Salarjung was died and everything was changed in the Hyderabad state, and that was the bad sign of the locals. That really a bad sign of the locals. But during the Mir Mehboob Ali Khan's time, during the time of Mir Mehboob Ali Khan times, in 1888, he made a rule. Who made a Mir Mehboob Ali Khan? Mir Mehboob Ali Khan. Mir Mehboob Ali Khan, he issued an order in 1888 that Mulkis would be given preference in the employment, government employment. If in case there is no Mulkis, then the appointment person must be consult the Prime Minister. While non-Mulkis are going to be appointed in the administration, so it must be take prior permission from the Prime Minister. So it was in 1888 the decision was made by Mir Mehboob Ali Khan the first time. Later, as I know, Mir Mehboob Ali Khan's classmate was Mr. Layak Ali Khan. Layak Ali Khan. So Mir Layak Ali Khan. Mir Layak Ali Khan also called as Salarjung II. Salarjung II. In 21 years only he became Prime Minister, and Mir Layak Ali Khan, Mir Mehboob Ali Khan, both are classmates. He influenced a lot to the Mir Mehboob Ali Khan. Mir Mehboob Ali Khan, once upon a time he was a minor. Okay, he was a classmate. Finally, when Mir Layak Ali Khan became a Prime Minister, on 21st in 1884. In 1884, 21st February 1884, Mir Laik Ali Khan or Salar Jung II changed the official language as Urdu. Very important. In which year Urdu became official language? 21st February 1884 onwards, Urdu became official language. What was the before official language? That was Persia. Persia became official language. And Mir Laik Ali Khan also gave importance to the non-mulkis. He also gave importance to the non-mulkis. He gave importance to the persons, those who knew English, so that many people were appointed in the Hyderabad state illegally. Because Urdu was changed as the official language. In our Hyderabad, many of the people were no Persia, not Urdu. So many people, they lost employment during the time of Salar Jung II, right? So that is one of the issue. And moreover, among the mulkis, the Hindus were very less in the employment. If you take the calculations and the statistics of the mulkis and non-mulkis, Hindus were very less. You know, the first graduate of the Hyderabad state, Rai Balamukund. Rai Balamukund was the first Hindu graduate. First graduate of Hyderabad state. He completed his BA. Later he became High Court judge. In 1908 he became High Court judge. Rai Balamukund. So you understand that the conditions of the Hindu, the condition of the mulkis were very less, and moreover, the people who coming from the Aligarh University, they are in the high position. They are in the very good position, right? So when this mulkis got very importance, you know, Maharaja Kishan Prasad. Maharaja Kishan Prasad became a Diwan, Prime Minister. Maharaja Kishan Prasad became a Prime Minister. He belongs to Hindu. Then it was celebrated as a festival, big festival. Understand? So Maharaja Kishan Prasad became a Prime Minister as a Diwan. It was hugely, greatly celebrated. All the mulkis, they felt very proud. All the Hindus felt very proud. Maharaja Kishan Prasad became a Diwan. When Maharaja Kishan Prasad became a Diwan, he also tried to give justice to the mulkis, to the locals. So at the time onwards, little bit preference was given to the locals. Next, due to the efforts of Maharaja Kishan Prasad and due to the efforts of the few local people, Nizam Mir Usman Ali Khan, the last Nizam Mir Usman Ali Khan, he made a farmana in 1919 farman. Farman means what? Royal order. Farman means what? Royal order. And again he also made 1933 another clarification act. So this 1919 farman and 1933 decisions both are clearly giving the statement that locals should be given preference in the employment. So I will make one other special video on 1919 farman. So you just remember 1919 farman, the main aim of the 1919 farman is to give preference to the locals in the employment. Okay, and here first time they have defined the mulki, who was actually the mulki, and what are the conditions for to become a mulki, what is the criteria to become a mulki. It was clearly stated in the 1919 farmans, which was issued by the Mir Usman Ali Khan. Many times it came into examinations, right? And another issue, you know that Nizam College. So Nizam College, which was established in 1878, the first principal of this college, Aghoranada Chattopadhyaya, Sarojini Naidu's father. Who was that? Sarojini Naidu's father, Aghornada Chattopadhyaya. See, Nizam College was affiliated to the Madras University. It was affiliated to the Madras University, and the medium of instruction was English medium. Okay, so Nizam College was established in 1878. At the time, Nizam College was affiliated to the Madras University, and the medium of instruction of the this Nizam College was English medium. So from the Madras, lecturers, clerks, and other office subordinates, other workers, they entered into Hyderabad state. That also one of the reason. And another reason, as you know that 1919 Usmania University was started. 1919 Usmania University was started. And as you know that Usmania University, it was started, the medium of instruction with the Urdu and English is one optional subject. One option. English language is one optional subject. 1919 Usmania University was started, and Urdu was Urdu medium. It was the Urdu medium with the English one optional subject. So to accommodate, to give lecturers, professors and other officials, these all came from the other places. These were legally settled in the Hyderabad state. So the Mulki issue was there in the beginning itself. Mulki issue was there in the beginning itself. So I have to explain about Mir Usman Ali Khan's 1919 Farmans. I'll make a new video for that, because it will little bit tricky and separate explanation is needed. If I explain here, it may be go in a different way. Okay, a different track will be changed. So all these circumstances, finally British, they won in the Second World War, but they lost many things, financially, economically, and psychologically. Politically, they are not in a position to rule India. So Britishers were politically, economically, psychologically, they are not a position to rule in India. So Britain Prime Minister, as you know that 1947, so Britain Prime Minister Clement Attlee, he is announced that soon we are going to declare independence to India. Okay, so he was said that in the June, he said that yes, we are going to give independence to India. In 1948, he claimed that 1948 we are going to give independence to India. When after this announcement, Nizam was expected that I will return my all the places, because as you know that Hyderabad king was Nizam only, but all the kingdom was controlled by the British, because Nizam was accepted subsidiary alliance. Nizam was made an agreement with the British. So Nizam was expected that I will get my own kingdom. When British will leave India, I will get my own kingdom. Then India got independence. Here Indian government were asked to merge this Hyderabad kingdom into India. This Hyderabad is ruled by king. So Indian government requested to the Nizam to merge his kingdom into Hyderabad. He was not accepted. I will not merge my kingdom into Pakistan or India. As you know that Pakistan and India both are separate countries were formed, but Nizam was not accepted. No. I will independently rule. This is my own kingdom. It is my own country. Okay, so he was not accepted. But as you said, you know that last Governor General or last Viceroy, Lord Mountbatten gave a clear-cut instruction to all the princely states. At the time, many princely states were there. More than 550 princely states were there. So these all 550 princely states, Mountbatten was clearly given a statement, suggestions to that. Either you have to join in India, or either you can join in Pakistan. But some of the special cases you can remain independent. Okay. So Lord Mountbatten and Indian government all are asking Hyderabad king or Mir Usman Ali Khan to merge his kingdom into Hyderabad. So not accepting. He was not accepted. Finally, a committee was formed to discuss with the Indian government. There is a lot of discussion was going on with the Mountbatten. Lot of discussions were going on with the Indian government. So Nizam made a committee. A committee was appointed. So let's see what the committee was did. Nizam appointed one committee. So that committee will be discussed with the Indian government about merge or any other issues. First one, Sir Walter Monckton. Very, very important. Sir Walter Monckton was constitutional advisor of the Nizam. This question came in Group 2 2016. Sir Walter Monckton was appointed as a constitutional advisor. He was advisor to the Nizam. Next, another person, Nawab Ali Yawarjan, and third person was Chattari Nawab. So these three persons were appointed by the Nizam to discuss with the Indian government about their proposal. But the persons belongs to MIM, Majlis Ittehadul Muslimin, MIM, Majlis Ittehadul Muslimin. The president, this MIM was founded in 1927. Ittehadul Islamic Muslimin was founded in 1927 by Nawab Muhammad Nawaz Khan. Okay, MIM, Ittehadul Islamic Muslimin, it was founded in 1927 by Nawab Muhammad Nawaz Khan, and the first president of this Bahadur Yarzan. This question also came. Bahadur Yarzan. So MIM, Ittehadul Islamic Muslimin, they protect the interest of the Muslims, Nawabs, they protect the cultural beliefs of Muslim, right? So MIM during 1948. So during 1948, Qasim Razvi. So dangerous person Qasim Razvi. So Qasim Razvi was not accepted the proposal. This committee, what is this stupid committee? Why you all are going to discuss with the Indian government? No, we do not need to be merged with India. So MIM, this Qasim Razvi was giving lot of support to the Nizam. So he was not accepting. He was ignored. So Qasim Razvi became the president of the MIM, and he was not accepted all these stupid things. And he declared that freedom for Hyderabad and Hyderabadis. They said, Qasim Razvi said, freedom for Hyderabad and Hyderabadis. Yes, we need freedom. Azad Hyderabad. So he was not accepted for the agreement. So Nizam was somehow thinking that about the agreement. Yes, let us go and think about something. Okay. And during at the time, Chaudhary Rahmat Ali, this person belongs to Pakistan. He gave a new word which is called as Usmanistan. Chaudhary Rahmat Ali was the person who gave the word Pakistan. So Pakistan name was derived from the Pakistan, which was given by the Chaudhary Rahmat Ali. He also gave a new word Usmanistan. Yes, it is an independent country and you can rule as a Usmanistan. So these all discussions were going on. And another side, Hyderabad State Congress, HSC, Hyderabad State Congress, which was founded in 1938. They are pressurizing the government to merge Hyderabad kingdom into India, because Telangana people, Hyderabad people, they are facing lot of problems with the MIM, lot of problems with the Razakars. So the MIM group members also called as Razakars, and these Razakars are attacking the Hindus. These MIM persons, Razakars, are sexually abusing the Hindu women, those who are playing Badkamma, celebrating festivals, lot of sexual abuse, sexual attacks on the Hindus. And there are Zemindars and Doras struggle. Their common people were not happy with the Doras and these all the things. So Hyderabad State Congress is pressurizing Vallabhbhai Patel and these all Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Jawaharlal Nehru to merge this Hyderabad into India. Next, and Hyderabad State Congress also declared that future of Hyderabad must be decided by the people, not the Nizam. You understand the statement? Future of Hyderabad must be decided by the people, not by the Nizam. That statement was given by Hyderabad State Congress. When Hyderabad State Congress was founded? 1938. Finally, 27 August 1947. Important, very important it is. So finally the Nizam declared independent kingdom. He was an independent kingdom. He was announced that my kingdom is my own. 27th August 1947, Nizam declared as independent country. My Hyderabad is my independent country. I am the king of Hyderabad. I am the king of Hyderabad. So there is no issue. I won't be merge my Hyderabad kingdom into India or Pakistan. So finally, Hyderabad became an independent country. Hyderabad coins are different, India currency was different, so everything was different, and the people of Hyderabad state were in confusion, great confusion, very problematic. One side Dora, one side CPA party is fighting, Telangana armed struggle was going on, one side Razakars attack was going on, another side the Nizam rule was going on. So there's lot of headaches were there at the time. Next, Arvamudam Iyengar. Arvamudam Iyengar. Very important. Arvamudam Iyengar. Arvamudam Iyengar was the person from Political Reforms Committee. So Arvamudam Iyengar was the person from Political Reforms Committee who was appointed by the Nizam. So Arvamudam Iyengar was the head of the Political Reforms Committee in Hyderabad Kingdom. Okay. So he also discussing with the Nizam about merge of Hyderabad Kingdom into Indian Union, but no, nothing at all. So first, Arvamudam Iyengar, he was requested about the co-status. Co-status means what? As usual, your kingdom is not yours, but you just we can go for co-status agreement with India. Okay. Then there was Layak Ali, the Prime Minister of Nizam, and VP Menon. Who was VP Menon? VP Menon was the Secretary of the Home Department. He was the Secretary of Home Affairs, Home Department, Secretary of Home. Layak Ali and VP Menon both were, they met to discuss about the Hyderabad and an issue. So it was called as Agreement of Head. So Agreement of Heads, very important. Agreements of Head was made between Layak Ali and VP Menon. VP Menon was the Secretary of Home and Layak Ali was the Prime Minister. Not Mir Layak Ali Khan Salarjung. He was Prime Minister 1948. During 1948 he was the Prime Minister. Layak Ali. That VP Menon. This agreement was, they discussed that, yes, okay, why you are not accepting to merge your Hyderabad kingdom into India? What you want? And VP Menon was requested, yes, let us go for the referendum. Referendum is what? People opinion. Because in Junagadh, people gave their opinion that we wanted to merge with India. Then Junagadh was merged in India. We will do the same in Hyderabad state. Plebiscite. It also called as plebiscite. It also called as referendum. Plebiscite or referendum it was called. But they are not yet decided. Then another committee was, because before Nizam was appointed one committee, Sir Walter Monckton and Nawab Ali Akbar Jung and Chattari Nawab, 3 members committee is there now. The 3-member committee was not accepted by MIM President Mr. Qasim Razvi. Then Qasim Razvi was requested the Nizam to make another new committee to discuss with India. So new committee with discussed with India. So new committee was formed. One is Moin Nawaz Jung, Moin Nawaz Jung, and second one Pingali Venkatram Reddy, Pingali Venkatram Reddy, PVR malls are there no PVR. So Pingali Venkatram Reddy. Pingali Venkatram Reddy was deputy PM. He was deputy PM. So who was the PM at the time? Layak Ali was the PM and Pingali Venkatram Reddy was deputy PM. And another person was Abdul Rahim. Abdul Rahim. So Abdul Rahim was referred by the Mir Qasim. Mir Qasim was referred this new committee. So this new committee was appointed. Again this new committee discussing with the Mountbatten, discussing with the Sardar Patel, discussing with the VP Menon about the merging of Hyderabad state into Indian Union. They are not accepting. No. Not. We will not accept. We wanted to remain independent. And K.M. Munshi was appointed as the Indian agent to discuss with India. It is also question came in group 2. Okay, Munshi. K.M. Munshi. So K.M. Munshi was appointed as an agent from India. Agent. He was appointed as an agent to discuss with the Hyderabad. Okay. So he is also discussing with the Nizam, VP and Mir Layak Ali and Mir Qasim. Sorry. Qasim Razvi, not Mir Qasim, Qasim Razvi. Sardar Patel. So Sardar Patel and VP Menon. Sardar Patel and VP Menon, both they met, both they invited Mr. Razvi, Qasim Razvi. So they invited Sardar Patel, VP Menon, they invited Qasim Razvi. They are discussing about the referendum. So referendum means, I hope you know referendum. Referendum means people's opinion. If the people they say yes, we will merge in Hyderabad state, then Hyderabad state will merge. If the majority people say no, we will not merge in Hyderabad, then that will be remain independent. So they are discussing with the referendum. Then Qasim Razvi gave a bold statement in front of the Sardar Patel and VP Menon that if that situation will come, we will give answer with the sword. He gave the bold statement, we will give answer with the sword. Next, there was a discussion was going on, and one day Mountbatten and VP Menon, these all are discussing in a meeting. L. Adrius was a chief in commander. CC, chief in commander. L. Adrius was the chief commander of Hyderabad state. So these all are discussing if war will come, so how many days he will fight. So Chief L. Adrius says that only 2 days. If war comes with India, only in 2 days only we will defeat. So finally, after the long discussion, one good news was made. The good news was shared. So that was 29th November 1947. 29th November 1947. Nizam was accepted because they know that if India will attack in 2 days, within 2 days they may defeat. So 29th November they made an agreement with India that is called as standstill motion. Okay, standstill motion or standstill agreement. So standstill agreement was made between India and Hyderabad on 29th November 1947. According to this, Hyderabad should not give support to Pakistan or India in case India Pakistan both are fighting. In case India and Pakistan both are fighting, they should not give support to anybody. And Hyderabad have to accept the Indian currency in Hyderabad state. And Hyderabad need to be maintained good relationship with the India. Hyderabad kingdom must give freedom to the people, especially freedom of expression. And Hyderabad kingdom must be give the democratic ideas, must be obey the democratic ideas, must be give importance to the people about the democratic ideas. So all the many of the things were made on 29 November 1947. So we can say that both are either India or Hyderabad. So both were they crossed their lines. Both were they broke the laws. They breached the law of standstill agreement. Both. So finally, pressurized Hyderabad State Congress. It was requesting Sardar Patel and Nehru about the conditions, very bad condition, and Nizam was also he was maintaining secretly he was made relations with the Pakistan, and he gave money to the Pakistan also. He gave money to the Pakistan also. So secretly he was doing something. So India became very army, and K. Munshi was our agent. He was appointed to discuss with the Nizam. So they did not treat well to the K. Munshi. K. Munshi was not neglected. When one envoy was sent by the government, so minimum respect, minimum the protocol will be there. There is no protocol was followed. Then Indian government became very angry. Then Indian government was planned to attack on Hyderabad state. Okay, so Indian government was planned to attack on Hyderabad state. So that operation was called as Operation Polo, Operation Polo, or Operation Caterpillar. Operation Caterpillar. This is also called as Operation Police Action. Operation Police Action. So there are a lot of names were there. Operation Polo, Caterpillar, or Police Action. Right. So this police action was started on September 13, 1947, and it was ended on 17 September 1947. So how? So this is India, and this is Hyderabad kingdom. This is Hyderabad kingdom, right? Then Nizam knew this news. Yes, India was going to attack. Then Nizam gave complaint on India in United Nations organization. Sir Walter Monckton was appointed. Sir Walter Monckton was appointed to see this kind of the procedure of United Nations organization. So Hyderabad king was Mir Usman Ali Khan was gave complaint on India in United Nations organization, right? And he was appointed Walter Monckton. Walter Monckton. Who was Walter Monckton? Walter Monckton was the advisor, constitutional advisor of the Nizam. Constitutional advisor of the Nizam. And they gave Mr. T.T. Moore. They gave T.T. Moore to destruct the bridges. Destruct the bridges. They gave T.T. Moore. T.T. Moore was a contractor. Nizam government they gave, they gave contract to the T.T. Moore to damage the bridges, because if there are bridges are there are different bridges are there in the kingdom. If the bridges are collapsed, if the bridges are dismantled, then the Indian army won't be come in time. So at the time in the United Nations organization, the problem may be settled. The problem may be dissolved. Okay, the problem may be settled. So they expected that if we stop India to 2-3 days, then the United Nations organization will be take up the case. And they also complained on India in International Court of Justice. They complained about India in International Court of Justice also they complained. They complained in the General Secretariat in United Nations organizations also. And one more person, Mr. Sidney Cotton. Mr. Sidney Cotton. Sidney Cotton was a pilot. He was a pilot. Sidney Cotton was a pilot. And they gave contract to the Sidney Cotton, Mr. Sidney Cotton, to supply the arms, to supply the weapons, because they know that India going to be attacked on the Hyderabad state. So Sidney Cotton was appointed. Sidney Cotton was given a contract to supply the weapons, armaments from the Kerala. And Mr. L. Adrius. I said L. Adrius was the chief in commander. So he went to Czechoslovakia. He was went to Czechoslovakia. He was went to Czechoslovakia and France. He was went to Czechoslovakia, France to purchase the weapons, to purchase the arms of with a worth of 4 crores. Okay, for 4 crores. So finally, these all conditions were going on, and Indian government sent General J.N. Chowdhury. They sent J.N. Chowdhury from Solapur. He came from the Solapur, and Mr. Rudra from Madras or Visakhapatnam, Madras or Vizag. So 2 forces. One force came from this side. One force came from south side. Okay. So Major Rudra, okay, he led the south, and J.N. Chowdhury led from Solapur batch. These both are, so Operation Polo or Operation Police Action. So it was led by General Maharaj Singh. So who was the leader of the Operation Polo on Hyderabad? Maharaja Ranjit Singh. And who led from Solapur? J.N. Chowdhury. Who led from Madras? It was Major Rudra. Finally, J.N. Chowdhury defeated the Hyderabad army. And Hyderabad was defeated on September 17, 1947, and officially Nizam was accepted his defeat, and they surrendered in front of Indian government on 18 September 1947. Okay, so who led the Operation Polo on Hyderabad police action? It was General Maharaj Singh, right? And at the time, Army General, during the time of our Army General, India Army General was General Butcher. General Butcher was the Army General. At the time, Defense Minister was Mr. Baldev Singh. At the time, Home Minister was Mr. Sardar Patel. Next, they gave complaint, and finally Nizam was accepted. That's what September 17 we celebrate as Telangana Vimochana Dinam, that is Telangana Mukti Divas, and this is also called as Telangana Liberation Day. Telangana Vimochana Dinam, Telangana Mukti Divas, Telangana Liberation Day, September 17, because Telangana people, the Hyderabad people, they got independence on this day, September 17, 1947, because they freed from the autocratic rule. They freed from the king. They freed from the Nizam, the great Nizam, right? So, as per the military conditions, as per the military rule, as per the military conditions, who defeated the Nizams? J.N. Chowdhury. J.N. Chowdhury came from where? Solapur. He is from the Solapur. Then J.N. Chowdhury was appointed as military governor. He was appointed as military governor. So the Hyderabad was ruled by the J.N. Chowdhury from 1948. From 1948 to 1st December 1949. So 1948 to 1st December 1948. So it was the military governor ruled Hyderabad. He ruled military governor. So during J.N. Chowdhury also, many people from Madras, many people from Andhra, so non-Mulkis, they entered in Hyderabad state. Next, after that, during J.N. Chowdhury was attacked on the Muslims in the name of controlling of the Razakars. I said no, some of the Razakars were there at the time. They did lot of illegal activities, they did lot of gundagiri, okay, they did lot of nonsense and nuisance. So in the name of Razakars, he was killing and arresting and torturing to the innocent Muslims. So many people were died because of J.N. Chowdhury's torture, and J.N. Chowdhury killed many of the Muslims. And J.N. Chowdhury also, he did not give respect to the Muslim civil servants. Muslim civil service also treated very badly by J.N. Chowdhury because he didn't like Muslims. He felt that these all are supporters of the Nizam and supporters of the MIM. Hence, the atrocities which took place during the J.N. Chowdhury, there is one committee was held. That committee was Pandit Sundarlal Committee. Pandit Sundarlal Committee, very important, in 1949. So 1949, Pandit Sundarlal Committee was made for to inquire the atrocities of the J.N. Chowdhury on the Muslims. Okay. So after 1949, one more new person came from. He was M.K. Vellodi. M.K. Vellodi. So M.K. Vellodi was ICS officer, Indian civil servant. M.K. Vellodi was Indian civil servant, and M.K. Vellodi became a chief administrator of Hyderabad. Chief administrator. He became a chief administrator of Hyderabad, like a CM. Chief administrator of Hyderabad, and he ruled till 1952. He ruled till 1952, and 1952 first general elections were held. And Burgula Ramakrishna Rao became CM of Hyderabad. Right? Who was the first CM of Hyderabad? Not KCR. Burgula Ramakrishna Rao. He became a CM. When he became a CM? 1952. Why? Here in 1952, elections were held in Hyderabad. He is from the Congress party. Then what is about the Nizam? 26th January 1950, Nizam was appointed as a Raj Pramukh. He was appointed as a Raj Pramukh, and government gave per month 50 lakhs pension. Government was agreed to give privy purses pension to the Nizam as 50 lakhs per month. So Nizam appointed Raj Pramukh on 26th January 1950, and his kingdom was merged in Hyderabad state, and Hyderabad state, the first CM Burgula Ramakrishna Rao. So hope I cleared in a step by step everything, whatever the situations and whatever the circumstances and what was happened earlier. So this I was explained to you little bit. I was little bit fast, but this is my strategy to teach to you, and I hope you understand this session, Telangana movement. In the next, we'll learn from Burgula Ramakrishna Rao about the Hyderabad state, how this Hyderabad state was merged in the Andhra, why this Andhra Hyderabad both are merged and became Andhra Pradesh. That we will learn in our next session. So that's it myself. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Jai Hind.